All right, everybody, welcome back to the College Town Podcast. My name is Derek DeBurger. With me is Sam Roth.
How are we doing, guys?
College football's back.
It sure is.
We are back.
Mm-hmm.
We just break down week one. Who was impressive? Who was less than impressive?
The winners, the losers, the properly rated, overrated, and underrated teams.
And then, of course, we talk about the biggest games. Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Miami, Florida, USC, LSU. I don't know why I said LSU like that, but oh well.
Well, Brian Kelly can be a dirtbag sometimes, but...
Okay. I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't think that's applicable. But anyway, that's basically what we do. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, we do our pick'em.
We sure do.
We hope you stick around to the pick'em. We also hope that you like the video, if you did indeed like the video, and subscribe if, you want to support us.
Yep.
Other than that, we'll get into the episode now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast in person.
How about that?
Yeah, I'm Derek DeBurger, and we got Sam Roth as well.
How we doing, guys?
Football's back. We're back. It's a great time to be alive.
I know, right?
Personally, for me,
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and I mean, let's jump right into it. The biggest game is, there's three games that stand out. There's Notre Dame A&M, which is game day.
Mm-hmm.
There's Miami, Florida, which is, not looking good for Sunbelt Billy. And then USC LSU, which, hey, who knew that there was going to be a little bit of defense in that game?
Yeah, I know, right?
Who knew?
Yeah.
I mean, is there one you want to start with first?
Whichever one you want to start off with.
Let's start with Notre Dame A&M.
Okay.
Because I'll admit it, I was wrong. I for a while now, I've been like, oh no, A&M's going to win that game.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was like, A&M's going to win. Don't worry, guys, they're going to win.
I really like Riley Leonard. I mean,
I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's raw. I think he's a great athlete. I think he is still learning the position, in all honesty.
Really?
I think he's a really good leader.
I remember last year when he was at Duke with Elko, and with the Louisville Duke game, he got hurt, and they were in that game up until that point. And then when he got hurt...
That was not the Louisville Duke game.
I thought that was.
No, that was a different game.
I swear I thought that was when he got hurt.
No, he played the whole game, Louisville Duke.
Dang.
They didn't score a single point.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
I think you're thinking of Notre Dame.
Really?
Yeah. It's Florida State too.
Oh. Man, I'm all out of it.
I think he got hurt the last play of regulation in Notre Dame. And I think they lost by a possession. And then Florida State, they were like right there with Florida State. And then he got hurt in the third quarter. And then their offense couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
He played the entire time.
I think he's a good quarterback, though.
I think he's a really good leader. I think he's smart.
Very humble guy. It's hard not to like him.
Well, it's hard not to be humble when your mom tells you suck every single day.
What?
You don't know about that?
No, I do not.
Every day is played as like it's so fun and cheeky, but every single game day, his mom texts him, "You suck," and the purpose is to keep him humble. Whatever. I think that's stupid.
But I mean, like, if you watch his interview with Hallie Rowe, I believe, who was covering the game. I could be wrong though.
I think you're right.
She basically was talking to him. It's like his first thing he says, "Man, you could have anyone else up here." He goes, she's like, "What's it like to be playing with this Notre Dame team?" He goes, "It only took me 3 quarters to figure it out." And apparently saying that in the fourth quarter is when he figured it out and played well. And it was just like very good answers by him in the press and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a smart guy. He's a good leader. Mm-hmm. He's a great athlete. I just think that he needs to develop as a passer.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if he'll do that this year because he just has 1 year.
He's definitely not touted as like an NFL top prospect in the quarterback position.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I will say the one NFL scout that I saw that was really high on him, his NFL prospects, was a Notre Dame alum. So
a little bias.
There's a lot of bias there.
All right.
But no, I mean, the defense looked really good, which is no shocker.
On both sides of the ball.
Yeah, like Marcus Freeman is such a good defensive coach.
Yeah.
They have such good players on defense. Xavier Watts is incredible.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. It was close. I thought it was going to be close. I'm just kind of shocked that A&M couldn't pull it out.
I really wasn't. I felt like Notre Dame. I saw that they were underdogs in this game, and I didn't really think that. I thought they should have been the favorite, even going into the 12th man.
I thought it was at Kyle Field. Mike Elko, just his teams just pop.
Yeah.
When or at least what we've seen so far. He provides an immediate coaching bump,
Sure.
boost. I combined. I'm gonna go with boost.
Okay.
He provides a coaching boop too. Yeah, no, I just thought A&M would win this game. Plus, they have talent. As much as they've underperformed in recent years, A&M still has a ton of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, there's not. I don't think there's much more else to say to other than that.
No, not really.
Notre Dame they are legitimate playoff contenders.
Yeah, they are. I mean, off of that first game.
Yeah. And they only have 2 more true road games.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
that's the perk of being Notre Dame. You set
Yeah.
your schedule up like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to leave South Bend if you don't want to.
No, you don't.
I mean, sort of. You have to play ACC teams.
Yeah.
But, which I'm pretty sure those might be the road games.
Oh.
That or USC.
Oh, yeah, that is right. They do. That'll be a fun game at the end of the season.
Yeah, let's move on to Miami, Florida next.
Oh. Okay, Miami's legit.
Florida sucks.
Florida does suck.
I'm not gonna go that far with Miami yet because there has been a game early season every single year that Cristobal has been there. So, only the past 2 years. But there's been a game early season, both years, where everyone's like, guys, Miami is legit. They are good this year. And then it turns out the team that they played wasn't that good.
Here's what I will say to kind of counter that. And the broadcast kind of brought this up too with the Affleck question. It was in the past 20 years, can you name
It was more than 20 years.
Well, it was something along those
Past
lines.
34 years.
Of name how many quarterbacks?
How many quarterbacks have been drafted in the first 3 rounds for Miami?
And it was 0.
Yeah.
And I truly feel like this for the first time is that Cam Ward
Oh, he's great.
is a legit quarterback at the U
Yeah.
and he has talent around him as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talent.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. And it's like,
Talent's never been the issue, though, for Miami.
I mean, at that position it has.
But not everywhere else.
True.
You can win with talent everywhere else.
Within reason. I'll agree with that.
I mean, just look at the SEC and Big Ten. There have been some pretty subpar quarterbacks that have played on phenomenal teams in those conferences.
I still think you have to have a pretty good quarterback, above average quarterback.
I don't think you have to. It helps.
Oh, it definitely helps, without question.
And Cam Ward is fantastic.
He is very good.
I thought he was the biggest get in the portal.
He was a very good.
And then when I was, I saw that he was going pro, I was like, okay, everyone missed out on Cam Ward, which is great because I didn't want him to go to Miami because Louisville has to play him. But no, he is fantastic. And the best years Cristobal had at Oregon was with Justin Herbert, a guy who is already NFL caliber.
Yeah.
That he kind of, he didn't really have to coach him. And so I think potentially I'm putting this caveat on Miami because, they killed Florida. Florida sucks. Florida sucks. I was telling you, if they go 6-6, they're not the best 6-6 team ever. I think they just suck.
It's a hard 6 wins, though.
I mean, maybe. Preseason, it looks hard. We'll see.
Yeah, true.
But I'm putting the caveat on Miami. Like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it against a team I know is good. However, I know Cam Ward's good. I know they have talent.
They do have talent.
And I know Cristobal, while I don't think he's that good an X's and O coach, his teams are so physical. And that is such an asset in football. So Miami could be legitimately good.
I mean, I picked them to win the ACC. I think I'm on the train. I'm on the hype train. I'm here for it. I think they're very, very good.
They have the talent, but that every single year, that's not the issue. They have talent. They had talent under Manny Diaz.
Yeah.
Not this much talent, but they had talent under Manny Diaz.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I want to wait. I want to hold out hope
All right.
before I see it. The other really big game, which was the game that happened last night, as of recording this, USC versus LSU.
Yeah.
In Allegiant Stadium in Vegas.
Yeah.
That was. Why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, from what I took away from that game was apparently LSU and USC decided to play defense this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, oh, LSU, USC, both teams last year who relied heavily on their offenses. But then also
couldn't stop a nosebleed.
No, but then also I failed to realize until watching the game is that they've lost both a Heisman Trophy winner on one side and the number 1 overall pick on the other side. Like
back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah, the two top.
Yeah, number 1, number 2 pick.
Yeah,
back-to-back Heisman winners.
Yeah, and it was clearly evident within the offenses there.
Yeah.
I still think Miller Moss is a very solid quarterback. Like
Miller Moss is still really good.
I mean, we saw a preview of him in the Holiday Bowl where he torched Louisville, and it was just like, okay, who's this guy that's been sitting behind Caleb Williams?
He torched a Louisville defense that was really, really good all year long, especially in the secondary, and he just had his way with them. He threw 6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns was just a USC record in a bowl game.
Yeah,
But besides that, I really liked USC going into that for that sole purpose because I didn't really know who Garrett
Nussmeier.
Yeah, I didn't really know too much about him coming in or what to expect from him. And they lost some weapons on offense as far as
they lost top 2 targets.
Yeah, they did. And so I kind of just looked at it like I'm going to go with USC just because I feel like if they can figure out the defense, they could be pretty good this year. Also, Zachariah Branch. He's a top 10 recruit, and he kind of started to show it on special teams, not too much on offense.
He showed it last year in the bowl game too.
But he should be fun to watch too.
Here,
those are 2 fun weapons for Lincoln Riley to play with.
Here is my biggest takeaway. I think the performance last night, on both sides, more so about LSU's defense. The performance from the defenses last night is not just about that they have new coordinators, that they have a whole new defensive staff, that they've revamped it. I think it is about that, but not entirely.
Okay.
I think there's also the factor of these teams' offenses are going to take a step back. I think USC is still going to have a good offense. Lincoln Riley is too good a coach. I think Miller Moss, he has too many tools to work with.
And he seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, and so USC is going to be good. I think LSU is not going to have a bad offense either. But they're losing Jaden Daniels, who Jaden McDaniel?
Jaden Daniels.
Okay. Jaden Daniels, who at Arizona State, I was like, this guy's fantastic. This guy's really good. I watched him. I was like, he's so good. And then, of course, he goes to LSU and just kills it.
Mm-hmm.
They're also losing Malik Neighbors and their other receiver.
Yeah.
Both of them got drafted. So I think this is a healthy combination, at least especially on USC's side, that, the defense has improved, but LSU's offense is not what it was last year.
No.
I mean, they're not going to average 50 points a game.
I mean, LSU's offense is... We'll see what it is this year. It wasn't awful, but it was meh.
It will be good.
Yeah.
It literally, LSU almost averaged 50 points a game last year.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that again.
No, they're not. They're not going to come close to it. What is absurd, though, is Brian Kelly seems to have a trend of anytime they lose, it's not his fault. It's his player's fault. Now, and that's what he says in the press. Is that just his way of trying to rally the troops or something like that, trying to be like, hey, use it as a point, hate me, all y'all hate me, so y'all get better? Like, what is the idea behind, like, he literally threw his, he literally said,
Nussmeier.
Well, he didn't say that verbatim, but he's like, they had better quarterback play than us. Their quarterback played better than our quarterback. That was the difference.
I mean.
And it's like, it's so bluntly said. It wasn't like I could have done anything. There was no very much self-reflection. It was just like, he
said something at one point.
But
that he's like, it's on me. He's like, we have the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's my fault. I mean,
we need to coach our guys better to basically when we have an opponent where we want them, we need to finish them, and we just aren't doing that. And it's just like there was no point in that game where I was watching where I was like, LSU could really put it away here. I never felt that.
Not really. But I mean, I think there's a narrative about Brian Kelly that he can't coach big games. I think that narrative is overblown, personally. However, it's definitely true about season openers. Because as a head coach, Brian Kelly has lost 5 straight season openers.
Ooh.
And that's with 5 teams that are pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
I think one of those teams was a playoff team.
In Notre Dame?
Yeah. And so, as good a coach as he is, and as overblown I think the narrative is that he can't coach in big games, they've lost 5 straight season openers. There's obviously there is something there. Like there's some smoke as far as like he's not getting his team prepared week 1.
Right.
I mean, last year they got destroyed by Florida State. Florida State was the only team, that was the only game all year long where Jaden Daniels didn't throw for multiple touchdowns.
Huh.
I mean, yeah, Florida State had a really good defense last year, but obviously their offense was dynamic. They could have scored on anyone. They did score on pretty much anyone. Why didn't they score on Florida State? It's because they weren't ready. I don't think there needs to be pitchforks in Baton Rouge. Because I still think, Jesus Christ, I still think Brian Kelly's a really good coach.
Right.
I mean, the job that he did at Notre Dame, I feel like shouldn't go underappreciated. Because Notre Dame, with all its built-in advantages, is not the easiest place to win at.
No.
And so he has done a great job as a coach. But he's bad week 1. I don't know what else to say. There's nothing else I can say about it.
He's just not that great.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what I want to get from you. So who were your biggest winners this week, and who were your biggest losers?
Okay.
Who were you like, wow, that team looked really good? And who were the ones where it's like, even if they won a game, where you're like, okay, they're not what we thought?
Biggest winners, I think it is Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame, in my mind, is the biggest winner. Miami is probably a close second, even though I think Florida just sucks.
Right.
I still contend week 1 in-state rivalry at Florida, which is a very tough place to play. That's a good victory. That's a very good victory. Outside of that, teams that looked really good that played like FCS teams, Tennessee and Ole Miss looked really good.
Oh my goodness, did they? Nico Lamalea looks legit. I didn't say it right. I know. But Ole
You
Miss
combined his first and his last name into like one word.
Nico
Yamaleava. That's close.
Well, he is damn good, I'll tell you that much. And Ole Miss put up...
I told you, man.
And Ole Miss put up 73 on Furman. Which is like,
Furman was really good defensively. Like, Furman at the FCS level was incredible defensively last year. They were like a top 3 defense in FCS.
Yeah.
It was like them, South Dakota State, who was clearly the best team in FCS last 2 years, and then Montana.
They played Oklahoma
South Dakota State played Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State played better than I expected. In all honesty,
44-20 is what the score was there.
Yeah, that was an impressive win for Oklahoma State. I don't think they're going to get a lot of praise for that because they're like, well, you beat an FCS school. Yeah, but it's like they were a really good FCS school.
Want to know who wasn't a biggest loser? Well, we're still talking winners, so we'll still talk winners. Any other winners I have?
I got to give the obligatory shout out. You know what? I'll give 2 actually because there weren't a lot of big games being played.
Penn State kind of looked good.
Penn State looked good. Penn State just shut down West Virginia. Louisville, I know they played a terrible team.
Who lost their offensive coordinator to a
trafficking scene? Yeah, and their entire coaching staff before that, and their entire roster before that, or I guess after that. But like, Louisville still just dominated.
Well, yeah.
The defense looked really good for Louisville. Illinois didn't put up a ton of points,
Really?
but Illinois, I think they played on Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
Illinois looked solid, especially their quarterback. I was watching the highlights of Illinois' game.
Yeah.
Their quarterback was making some nice throws. Luke Altmaier. He was making some nice throws. I'm really interested because in week 2 we're going to have Kansas at Illinois. I think Kansas is very good. I'm very interested to see how that game plays out.
That wouldn't be too bad of a game, in my opinion.
Oh, I think it's going to be a really good game because Luke Altmaier, I'm telling you, some of the throws he was making, they were just like right on the money, perfect passes, right in the breadbasket.
Yeah.
Really, really good throws. And their coach is Brent Bielema. You know they're going to have a tough defense.
Yeah.
So if Luke Altmaier is actually a good quarterback, what he looked like in that game,
we'll see what they can do in the Big Ten.
That's scary. That's scary as far as what Illinois could do.
It's going to be a little tricky team where you don't really expect it. Alabama looked good against Western.
Alabama, they got off to a rough start.
Slow start.
Yeah, but they rolled.
Same with Ohio State against Akron. Very slow start.
Slow first half.
Yeah, and then they just turned it on.
They just gave it to him in the second half.
All right, who do you have as like your biggest losers? Who looked bad?
Okay, there's 2 that stand out, and they're top 10 teams.
Okay, can we both say them at the same time? Michigan,
yeah, and Oregon.
Yes.
I mean, those
both won, but
both
didn't look good.
Well, the thing is, both teams were like in a genuine game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like at the start of the fourth quarter, both those teams could have realistically lost.
Yeah, the Michigan-Fresno State game doesn't really show it on the box, but it was 30-10 was the final score, but it wasn't a 20-point victory. It didn't look like it.
Well, they were up by 13 at one point in the fourth quarter, and Fresno State just threw a pick six.
Right.
Like in the red zone, they threw a pick six.
Mm-hmm.
So Fresno State they were marching down the field. They were gonna score.
So that's
likely.
That's a 7-point swing.
Oh, that's a 14-point swing.
Oh yeah, it is a 14-point swing.
So that's close. I don't have any clue what happened with Oregon. Like I know they played Idaho. Idaho is a good FCS team.
Mm-hmm.
They only put up 24 points.
Yeah.
I was so high on this Oregon team. I had them number 1 in the preseason.
I thought they were going to be legit.
I have them as my national champion pick preseason. And it's because of the coaching staff and them bringing in Dylan Gabriel. I thought he was such a good fit for their system.
They have Dante Moore as a backup.
Yeah, they do. And like Dylan Gabriel went 41 of 49 passing. He threw for 380 yards. Their running back had 95 yards on 15 carries, which is a crazy average.
It's a really good.
I didn't watch that game, so I don't know how they only put up 24 points. It's baffling. And they only turned it over one time.
Huh.
And it was a fumble. Fumbles are pretty fluky
and they
sometimes.
Controlled the time of possession, too.
Oh, they dominated time of possession.
So that is an interesting one where you're going to have to go back and look at the eye test and see what happened.
Yeah.
Where it's like, did they just drive down the field and it was 24 and they just kicked like 8 field goals?
I don't know. Did they? I didn't check their kicker stats. Did he miss 8 field goals?
I mean that is a good.
Because also total yards wise, Oregon more than doubled Idaho. I know Idaho was like I said it before, Idaho is a good FCS team, but they're not this good. They're not South Dakota State. Like
7-yard passing touchdown, 6-yard run, field goal, touchdown. No. I mean like.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't really add up.
Maybe this is just a terrible week 1 fluke, but this
their kicker did miss one kick.
One kick though, but that don't
missed one kick. His long was from 26 yards, so they drove down the field and decided to kick it. Another loser, Texas Tech.
Oh my God, Texas Tech, yeah.
Why are we going in overtime?
To Abilene Christian.
Abilene Christian, and then. Don't know too much about the game, but giving up 51 points to Abilene Christian, there's a lot of.
I mean, that's been the issue under Jerry Maguire or Joey Maguire, not Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire, coaches Texas Tech.
It's his little brother Joey.
There you go.
No, that's been the issue under Joey McGuire. Great offenses, terrible defenses.
Right. Who else I'm trying to look at that stood out?
I mean,
South Carolina, 23-19.
oh, South
against
Carolina,
Old Dominion.
they looked like they sucked.
Really?
South Carolina,
They're gonna be abysmal.
I think they're gonna. I'm gonna tip my cap on one of our pick'ems, but
Pick'ems?
I think they're just gonna get destroyed by Kentucky.
Really?
Oh my God, yes.
Let's see. Any other losers? Is Virginia Tech a loser in your book?
Oh yes, forgot about them.
Virginia Tech against Vanderbilt.
Virginia Tech.
But you like Vanderbilt. You kind of
Okay, I was talking about that. Yeah.
Off camera.
So here's what I'll say. I like Vandy's coach. I like their head coach. I think he's a solid head coach. I don't think he's great. I think he's solid. They also have Jerry Kill on their staff starting this year. So, I think Jerry Kill is an incredible coach. He was the only thing that kept him back was like health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having him on staff is going to be a lot more fruitful than people I think are going to give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
They also brought in Nate Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
who was a 4-star recruit from Utah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. He didn't look good at Utah, but he was just a sophomore. I think he's got 2 more years, I think, of eligibility. So
it could be
he could develop into something. He's athletically, he's like all the way there.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of stood out to me is like a report that came out that they had to stop letting students into the Commodore Stadium. I forget what it's called, but apparently the student section got full. And they just let students in.
Well,
because they have a history of just like not filling the stands.
Oh, so they let students in for free.
Right.
And it's so bad that I can't remember who it was that they played someone like in the past like couple of years that they were up on in the second half, and they literally started like tweeting out, like putting like turning on all the alarms, like, guys, we're actually in it. Come to the game. And people still didn't come.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, this is crazy that like week
I think that's
one.
a good indication of like the hype behind a team. Is like if the students are wanting to come to a game where traditionally they normally don't.
Well, Virginia Tech's a good school. They've got a lot of good history.
Oh, absolutely, Virginia Tech.
And I think
is a decent program.
I think Virginia Tech was believing their own hype. I think that's part of it. I do like Vandy's coaching staff. They have a quarterback with potential. But I think Virginia Tech would just like believed everything they heard in the offseason. That a lot of people were saying like, this team is number 1 in returning production. They could really pop this year. They could make the playoff. They could win the ACC. And I think they saw that and were like, yeah, we're just going to go in. We're going to steamroll Vandy.
All right, a little prematurely, but back to week 0. Is Florida State something to be concerned about with the Georgia Tech loss, or is tonight we're going to actually see the true Florida State against a Bill O'Brien Boston College?
I don't know.
It is at Florida State, so they're back
Is
home.
it at Florida State?
It's at Florida State. They're back home. So I do wonder, does Mike Norwell steer the ship correctly after bringing it back all the way from Dublin?
I mean, it's going to be tough. They play they play after, Haynes King.
Mm-hmm.
They've now got to go up against Thomas Castellanos, who is also a great quarterback. He's really good.
I believe the spread for this game is 16.5. They're giving Boston College 16.5 points.
Yeah, I could see that margin.
Mm-hmm. A 17-point game win.
Yeah. Just because I think Florida State's going to be so hyped up for this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would not have been normally, but I think they're going to be so hyped up because they're trying to show everyone, like, no, we're still really good.
Right.
Like, Georgia Tech's just really good as well. I think that's what they're trying to show. I still don't think you're going to see too much out of the offense, even though last year Boston College's defense was not good, even though they had Jeff Hafley, who's a good defensive coach. So you'll probably see the offense play a little bit better. I still don't think you're going to see it do that much better just because I don't have faith in that offense. It'll be interesting to see how the defense holds up.
So, apparently speaking about their defense, Florida State, according to a good bit of NFL scouts, they have to stay anonymous and whatnot, is from what was said is that NFL scouts viewed Florida State's defensive line as one of the top in the nation, one of the best in the nation. And I think that speaks more volumes to Georgia Tech's offensive line for holding their own in Dublin.
Well, they got Brent Key, former offensive lineman.
Yeah.
One of the biggest rah-rah coaches. I think he's a good X's and O's coach as well.
Right.
But Brent Key is a rah-rah guy
Yeah.
at his core. No shade.
Right.
So he gets guys hyped up. And, like, especially at the offensive line. Like, he can just hype people up so much.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't shock me at all that their offensive line played great. Because that's his specialty. And so, yeah, I think you're right. I think it could say more about I mean, I do think that game said more about Georgia Tech than it did about Florida State.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia Tech came and they beat Georgia State pretty handily.
Yeah.
It's like 35-13, something like that.
Yeah, it looked very good. And Georgia State or Southern? I think it was Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern played Boise.
Oh.
Georgia State played Georgia Tech.
Okay.
What were you going to say, though?
I was just going to say, like, basically, like, I think Georgia Tech, yeah, it's Georgia State. You are correct. And it was just like one of the, I forget what I was trying to say, honestly.
I don't know. That's a nice score. That's solid, but I think it is kind of indicative of what Brent Key has done, where they play up and down to their competition. I think Georgia State is going to be really, really bad this year.
Ooh.
That's what I think. And so, only putting up 35 on Georgia State, I think is actually not that good, but I don't think it speaks to the talent of Georgia Tech. I think it just speaks to Brent Key's not good at getting his guys up for bad opponents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they in his first 2 years as the head coach, even though technically last year was his first full season, because they fired Jeff Collins pretty early a couple years ago, and he just stepped in as the interim. They've had some bad losses.
Yeah.
Both years they've had bad losses. They've had good wins. They've had some bad losses.
Yeah.
So I think, while I do think Georgia Tech is going to be good this year, I think you're going to see them have a terrible loss.
Have some stumbles here and there. All right.
Actually, one more note about going back to Virginia Tech Vandy.
Yeah.
Do you know that was... So Vandy broke a streak of 61 consecutive games where they have lost when down by 7 or more points in the fourth quarter.
Really? They've never come back from a 7-point deficit in the fourth quarter.
Well, not in the last 61 games.
Yeah, until yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
that's the thing is, like, it's such a losing culture there.
Yeah.
You hate to say it, but like it really is.
Oh, it absolutely.
And so, the fact it is miraculous that they were able to win down 7, which is when you think about how much Vandy expects to lose.
When you hear Vanderbilt, your first thought is either baseball or good academics. It is not the football team.
Yeah, or your third thought might be, isn't their football team god awful?
Yeah, that too. Or just like any other athletics for that matter.
Yeah.
One more. I didn't call them a biggest loser.
Yeah.
Because of who they played.
Mm-hmm.
But does Clemson's loss to Georgia make them seem like a big loser? Because 4 years ago they'd be right in that game, and now they're getting destroyed by 31 points.
So the last time that they played,
Mm-hmm.
they lost that game 10-0.
Okay.
And Georgia's defense was
They hold
better than it is now.
Yeah.
They had NFL player after NFL player, and they do now. But like, whew.
Is this the start, or we've already started to see the decline of Clemson?
We've
Preseason ranked 14th. They're not even in the top 10 anymore. They're not even in conversation to win the ACC anymore, like every year now.
I think they're still in conversation with the ACC. But I mean, we've already seen the decline. Like,
We have.
This is, for whatever reason, the offense is. It's been so bad for so long,
Yeah.
and like, yes, DJU is not that good a quarterback.
He was not.
It doesn't matter. Clemson, the problems in Clemson are so deep rooted. It's not just DJU. Like Cade Klubnik,
He's not the answer.
he was like a 5-star recruit,
Yeah.
and he's just not that good. Hasn't been that good at Clemson. And they brought in Garrett Riley, who Garrett Riley was the architect of TCU's offense a couple years ago when they went to the national championship.
Yeah.
Their offense was electric under Garrett Riley. He's literally Lincoln Riley's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are masterminds on offense. He can't fix it. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, it's Dabo. It's Dabo. I saw someone make the argument that it was their wide receivers coach, that he was the problem. That's a load of BS. But no, I think.
Do you just think it's their refusal to use a new resource? They're handicapping themselves?
Yes, that is exactly what it is.
They just refuse to use the transfer portal in any sense of the word?
Yeah, because like last year they still had a really good defense, but it was really young.
Right.
This year it's a little older because they
That's how life works.
yeah, but the thing is, they've been young for a while because a lot of guys are just transferring out.
Yeah.
They're
And they're not recouping that experience.
As a coach, you want to get old and stay old. By Dabo just completely ignoring the portal, he's not
getting old, and he's not even have the possibility of staying.
Yeah, he's not giving. Yeah, he's not. It's not even on the table for him.
It really isn't.
And so, yeah, it's like solid win by Georgia. They put up a lot of points against what I do think will be a very good defense. But like the fact that Clemson's offense still just couldn't do anything is like so indicative of their like deep-seated issues at this point. If you're in the ACC, Clemson's weak. Clemson's weak for the first time, and they're beatable. So it says so much more to me about Clemson than it does about Georgia.
Oh yeah, I don't think that was, in all honesty, a true test for Georgia yet.
No, I thought so. When I saw the score at the first half, I was like, okay, Clemson's keeping it close. Like, obviously they're having a real hard time scoring, but they're keeping it close. And then, which I thought would actually give them a little bit of confidence. No one wants to lose, but I thought that would give them some level of confidence as far as like okay, we kept the cap on Georgia's offense. Like they couldn't just like run it up on us. And then in the second half, that's exactly what they did. And so now it gets in the situation of like, okay, does Clemson lose a lot of confidence? Because they got killed in the second half. I don't know. We'll have to see how they respond. But any other week one games you want to talk about?
I think that covers it for the most part. I don't think I have anything else to mention.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we went through the biggest winners, biggest losers.
Yeah, the only other thing is that I thought personally that there were a lot of teams week one that didn't look all that impressive. Like the teams that actually looked impressive, that went out there and just like killed a team. It's few and far between. Normally you get more of those week one.
Right. I mean, like, here's the killers. It was Louisville. We'll throw in Georgia. Iowa killed. Maryland killed. Purdue killed.
Tennessee
killed. Washington State, I guess, killed 70, but they gave up 30.
Yeah.
So, or
a little bit here, a little bit there.
Killed. Texas killed. Nebraska kind of killed UTEP 40-7.
A little bit, but that's a new roster, new coaching staff. I'd put Miami in there, honestly.
Miami's in there.
Ole Miss played really well.
Alabama did. Ole Miss did. Kansas State did. South Florida did.
Oh, look at that. Sam Houston won. They beat Rice. That's
sure
their first win over an FBS team.
There you go. 34-14.
All right, Sam Houston.
Won by 20. Any other teams that killed?
Yeah, it just feels
Auburn,
like
73-3 against
Auburn. Auburn,
right.
ran it up on that.
Kentucky sort of, brain delayed in between.
Arkansas played really well.
There you go.
Arkansas put up 49 points in the first half.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So much so that the second half they did a running clock with 10-minute quarters. They were just like, screw it, we don't care.
70-0 on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm. And that 21 of that 70 was in 20 minutes of like real time.
All right.
All right. I mean, if there's nothing else, which I don't think there
I
is.
think we covered it all.
Yeah.
Not too much news other than the games.
There was one bit of news that the NCAA is proposing rule changes that would allow.
Amateurism is dead.
Yeah, all sports, not just football, can have a year where you play but still maintain your red shirt. Kind of how in football you can play 4 regular season games and it doesn't count towards your eligibility your freshman year. You could make NIL before you go to college, which is currently not allowed. And also, national letter of intent would be done away with. Those are the proposed changes. Also, they're proposing getting rid of the spring transfer window for football, which, in all honesty, I agree with it. Just because I think it's too much for coaches to deal with. I'm very pro player movement, but like that's a lot. That's my opinion.
All right.
But those are some big changes being proposed. I think the NCAA sees the writing on the wall finally, because their whole headquarters has been vandalized, and they're like, "Wait a minute, I don't think we have too much power anymore."
No, the pendulum has changed and shifted all the way over to the players.
Yeah. But with that being said, that's all we got. Let's do our pick'ems.
Yeah.
Let's finish out the episode with our pick'ems.
Mm-hmm.
And what's gonna be our game of the week?
The first one.
This one right here. This is actually the most interesting one to me, personally.
I don't
But
think it's gonna be.
I said interesting. Maybe not the best game, but it's most interesting.
Fair enough.
Okay.
You pick the pick.
All right. We'll start with here. Arkansas at Oklahoma State.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State, even though Arkansas looked impressive.
They sure did.
Week 1. They have Bobby Petrino as their play caller. One of the best play callers in the country.
I totally forgot about that.
They got Bobby. Bobby 2.0 down in Arkansas.
You would have told me back in like 2012 that Bobby Petrino would be back at Arkansas. I would have.
If I would have told you in 2012 that he would be back at Louisville and then back at Arkansas, that's insane.
That's so funny.
I'm going Oklahoma State.
I'm still sticking with Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
That's what I initially thought. I feel like they're going to be pretty good, especially at home.
Yeah. Next we have Baylor and Utah. Baylor at Utah. This is actually not a conference matchup because they scheduled this game before Utah made their move to the Big 12.
Oh.
Same thing with Kansas State plays one of those as well. I don't know if it's this week or next week.
So this does not.
I think
count?
I think Kansas State and Arizona play each other, but
So
they
this
had
does not count towards the
conference
Big 12.
record.
Really?
Nope,
Interesting.
because they had scheduled this prior.
Huh.
I've got Utah,
I
and
do
I
too.
don't think it will be close. I think Utah is going to destroy Baylor.
I don't think it's destroy. I don't know. I think 20 points, sure.
I think Utah is really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up we have Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa, do they have an offense?
I don't know.
They put up 40 points.
Uh,
I think people are blowing that out of proportion. It was an FCS team.
yeah. It's a check game for a reason.
I'm going to take Iowa State.
I was thinking that. For differential reasons, I'm going to go with Iowa.
All right. Next up, we have Cal at Auburn. This is a very close game last year in Berkeley that Auburn just barely squeaked away with.
Yeah.
What are you thinking this year?
It's not going to be close. I think it's Auburn.
I think it'll be close, but I think Auburn will win.
I think Auburn wins. I don't think California is just that good. And also, Auburn looked really good this past week.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Cincinnati, I think, won their opener last year like 70-0, and they went on to win 2 more games.
I'm aware of that, but I think it's Auburn.
I'm going Auburn, but I do think it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I already told you I don't think it's going to be close. South Carolina at Kentucky.
Yeah, the way if South Carolina plays anything remotely close to the way they played Old Dominion, this game will not be close.
Here's the thing. I think South Carolina will play better. Still don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, give me Kentucky.
Yep, Kentucky. Michigan State at Maryland. This is an interesting one.
I'm with you. I think it'd be a good game.
I'm going to go with Maryland, though.
I'm going Michigan State.
I think Mike Loxley, to a degree, he's kind of got that thing rolling a little bit.
A little bit more?
Yeah, I think he's got it rolling to the point where they're
Who's
steady.
their quarterback now?
MJ Morris.
Huh.
He was quarterback at so a couple years ago he had to burn a red shirt because of an injury to Devin Leary.
Oh, okay.
So he had to burn a red shirt a couple years ago.
Was that NC State?
Yes, NC State. And then last year he was on his way to burning a red shirt. And then after he played 4 games, he was like, "Actually, I don't want to play. Guys, I'm not going to transfer, but I just don't want to waste a year of eligibility." And when he did that, I was like, "Oh, he's gone.
Oh yeah.
He's leaving after this year. he's not going to be in Raleigh after this year." But no, MJ Morris is a good quarterback. Mike Locksley is a solid coach. I think Michigan State is too much to figure out in year 1. I'm going with Maryland.
I like Michigan State. Give me Michigan State.
Kansas at Illinois. This is going to be a very interesting one.
More than what I think most people think.
I think so too.
I think you're high on Illinois, and I think that's what makes it interesting.
Just from what I saw, week 1.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I'm going to go with Kansas because Jalen Daniels is still healthy.
And Devin Neal is nice as can be at running back.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I'm good. Give me Kansas.
Yeah, early season, I'm taking a healthy Kansas. All right, next we have... we'll take this one off. This is not a good one.
No, it's not a good one. I was like,
I didn't notice that one before. Okay, to me, this next one is the most interesting one of the week, potentially of the season, because the winner... It's going to say a lot about the winner, I think. We have Tennessee versus NC State. This one is in Charlotte, I think.
Okay.
It's either in Charlotte or Nashville.
Okay.
It's a neutral site game. This is very interesting to me. I don't know if this will remain a top 25 matchup because NC State played terrible. Tennessee's definitely still going to be top 15 in this game.
It is a Duke Mayo's Classic.
That's probably Charlotte.
They are playing Bank of America.
Charlotte.
Sure is.
Okay. Who do you have in this one?
I don't think it's close.
You don't think it's close?
I think Tennessee rolled.
I think NC State is going to play significantly better.
They better.
Than what they did against Western Carolina. I still think Tennessee will win, but I think this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people are expecting. What's the line on it?
7.5 Tennessee.
Okay. That's closer than I thought it would be. I'm not giving gambling advice. I'm not doing it. Legally, I can't.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with Tennessee.
There you go.
All right. Then we have Colorado at Nebraska.
I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you this because I always forget. What year is Matt Rule in? Year 2?
2.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll just come out and say it. I'm gonna go with Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm going with Nebraska too.
Yeah, I think
Colorado did not impress me. The only reason why they look comparable and won the game is Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter made some ridiculous plays against North Dakota State.
Travis Hunter's great.
And Travis Hunter is phenomenal. I think if there's any way to neutralize him in that offense, it might suffer.
Jimmy Horn had almost 200 yards receiving, though.
True. Very true. But you also got to remember, it is an elite FCS school, but it is still an FCS school.
Yeah. But, I don't know. We'll see how they look in this game. I still am not entirely sure how much could be taken away from this because, Nebraska had a good defense last year.
Right.
But, I don't know. We'll see how both lines are going to hold up for Colorado because that is the big thing. They've got skill players. When Hunter is healthy, the secondary is good for Colorado. It just depends on both offensive and defensive lines, but I'm still going Nebraska.
All right.
Oh man, this game is going to be terrible. This game is going to be so bad.
What game were you talking about, Derek?
Houston at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
This is going to be such an ugly game.
Houston, I believe, just lost to UNLV last week.
They sure did.
And now they're going to
Oklahoma, who put it on a Temple.
Yeah,
they scored, I think, 51 on Temple.
Is Houston just that bad this year?
Houston just doesn't have talent.
Man.
I think Willie Fritz is a solid coach. I think Willie Fritz kind of had just 2 years where he popped.
Right.
At Tulane. This is going to be such a terrible game. I'm going Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
If you are looking for just like the most entertaining of blowouts, watch Houston, Oklahoma. Next up, we have App State at Clemson. This is very important for both of their seasons because App State, I think, has a legit chance to be the Group of Five representative in the playoff. Mm-hmm. Clemson needs to salvage their season. A loss here for Clemson just ruins them.
A loss here for Clemson says a lot more about Clemson than it does App State.
I think App State is still solid. I think they are in that top tier of Group of Five teams. They have a returning quarterback. They had a really good offense last year. They didn't look that great week one. Mm-hmm. They only won by like 21 points against an FCS school. I'm gonna go with Clemson. Mm-hmm. I think it's a definitive Clemson in my mind, just because App State didn't look good.
Right. I think it's Clemson, but also it's like Clemson's not a bad team. It's not like
they're just on the decline. Right. They're on the decline from what they were.
The top. They
were literally, it was them in Alabama.
Yeah,
for a time.
Right, and they're not there anymore, but they're still a ranked team with talent that's better than App State.
Next up, this is an interesting one.
If it's anything to go off of week one.
Yeah. Boise State at Oregon. That's very interesting because Boise hung a lot of points.
They did against Georgia Southern.
Their running back. Did you see the numbers he put up?
I'm about to look at it.
Oh, my God. Look at those numbers for Boise State's running back.
Holy. Ashton Genty, 20 carries, 267 yards for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah. That's incredible.
He averaged 13 yards a carry in 6 touchdowns. 1 out of every 3.5 times he carried the ball, he scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Imagine coming home being like, yeah, I just scored 36 points for my team today. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, do I dare to do it?
No, because their defense gave up 45 points.
But, okay.
Is this just a shootout?
I think it might be.
But, I mean, like, Oregon's offense, the stats look good, but the points didn't look good.
I'm so confused. You pick first.
I'm going Oregon. It's too early in the season to... They could have stumbled, but, I mean, like, Boise's defense gave up 45 to Georgia Southern. 45 points. What does Oregon's offense do?
I'll go with Oregon. I wanted to do it so bad, but I'm going with Oregon.
I thought about it too. The spread is 18.5.
It's interesting that Boise State's offense looked that good because I think a lot of people were picking them to go to the playoffs just because they had that one quarterback from USC transferred in, who was the number one quarterback, Malachi Nelson. I think that's his name. Malachi Nelson.
Very close. Maddox Matson.
No, that's their starting quarterback.
Oh, you're talking about a backup?
Yeah, no, I'm saying a lot of people picked Boise State.
Oh yeah,
because he transferred them, but he didn't win the job. I think it's Malachi Nelson, but
the USC guy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting.
I think I already said all this, but yeah.
Okay. Last pick'em, game of the week. It's college game day. Texas at Michigan.
Is this a Big Ten game or is it?
No.
Texas and SEC. What am I talking about? I'm stupid. I don't think it's close. Give me Texas to pummel the big house and make it the quietest 100,000 like it usually is.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Texas looked really good against a team that I thought was one of the better ones in Group of Five in Colorado State. Yeah, in all honesty.
And they held them to 0 points and put up 52 on them.
I think it's 59.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. All right, that's it. That's our episode.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
It's good to be back in person.
Sure is.
All right.